What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to Auto Auction Rebuilds. Today we are back with my 2005 Dodge Viper that I got for crazy cheap money. And we found out we got it cheap for a reason. Basically, everything is wrong. So this is what I consider to be my stupid cheap Dodge Viper. I got it for $39,000 from a dealer auction with 46,000 miles on the odometer. And obviously it looks great. It's absolutely filthy. It's disgusting, but it looks really good. It takes good pictures. The only problem is underneath all of this beauty, well, she's hiding quite a few problems that obviously were not listed in the auction. In the last video, we addressed something relatively simple, the spark plugs. No big deal. We also did an oil change. Again, no big deal. Now, we have leaky valve cover gaskets, and they're leaking pretty good. So I don't know how much we're going to get done in today's video because there is a lot to do. We found out that the tires on this thing are 10 years old. Even though they have good tread, they are cracking and they are exceptionally old. So today I spent $1,800 on 4 matching Michelin Pilot Super Sports. Actually, the rear tires are Michelin Super Sports. The front tires, even though they look identical, they are Michelin Pilot Sports. So they are different, but they have the same tread pattern, the same wear. So they're like 30,000 mile tires. $1,800. I also just purchased a lower intake manifold gasket because I've decided we're going to change the spark plug wires. We're going to replace all of the coil packs. And to get to them, you have to take the entire intake plenum off. And I also ordered new parts now. So I've spent today about $3,000 on this car just today, and that doesn't include all of the other parts that I've already bought. There's a lot to get done. I don't know how far we're going to get in this video, but we're going to do our best. I think what's at the top of my priority list right now, number one, we were going to do all of the fluids, but we have an issue with a bulging upper radiator hose. I mean, it is soft. Look how soft. Very soft rubber. Even though the car's got low mileage, it's important to understand that this car is like 20 years old, guys. It's an 05. It's 2024. So she's got some mileage. That needs to be addressed immediately because that is going to be a problem if we don't address it. So I think I'm going to start with that. We'll take the cap off. We have the proper coolant for this, which is the Valvoline Zerex G05. I've got 4 gallons of it. We're going to need to drain the cooling system. And I might take this out of the way, although I don't think we really need to. Do we? I don't know. Does this just pop out, spin out? Yeah, not a clue. Looks like, oh, it's just a twisty screw. I get it. We may go ahead and take this off because I also have a new serpentine belt. I want to take a closer look at the water pump. That's very important. Water pumps for this, listen to me, before you buy a Viper. Water pumps are no longer made by Dodge, okay? Chrysler, Dodge. They don't sell many parts for this car anymore. If your water pump goes out, you have very few options, and unfortunately, these pumps are made with a plastic impeller. Plastic. So they do eventually fail. They will fail. To get a new one, it's going to cost you about $600 or $700 to get a reman unit with a billet aluminum impeller. That's a lot of money for a water pump that's only about this big. But when nobody else sells them, what are you going to do? All right, let's see about getting this whole thing off. I don't really know how to do it, but it looks like we got a hose here we've got to take off, a hose here, probably an air temperature sensor. It's got a little red clip. Push that, pull, that comes off. That's easy enough. We'll need a tool for this and pop that off. These screws, I assume you just turn these by hand until eventually they come out. That's easy enough. Hopefully nothing breaks because, as I said, finding parts for this is exceptionally difficult. Does this just lift up? Yeah, that's easy. Man, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have said that. And you get a nice little placeholder right here for all your parts. Let me grab some hose clamp pliers and we will start disassembly. Before I get too far into the video, here's what I've got to get done to the car before all my new parts come in that requires us to dig back into it. We got a new battery. That's a bear to replace. New serpentine belt. New valve cover gaskets. New brake fluid. New clutch fluid. New manual transmission fluid. New power steering fluid. New rear differential fluid. New coolant. Upper, lower radiator hoses as well. This is what I'm saying, guys. This is what's on my agenda. I tried to get it done last time. We didn't get anywhere. I'm going to see how much we can get done today, and anything we don't manage to finish today, we will come back to and get in another video. Now, if you've never seen hose clamp pliers, this is what they look like. They also work great as spark plug boot removers. Nice little hole in the middle. You reach in, grab, and you can kind of wiggle the plug wire around. But the way this works is you grab hold of these weird clamps like this, squeeze, and then pull the clamp off. How easy is that? And here's a beautiful thing. You could actually use it to wiggle your hoses loose. Look at that. Look how easy that is, right? Then you can pull your hose off just like that. We're going to use this on the other hose as well. This one doesn't have a clamp on it. Where did it go? Right here. Looks like we need to get it from the back side here and just kind of give it a little twist, and off it comes. These things are a godsend. I kid you not. And then I think I've already loosened it. I thought I already loosened it. Maybe I didn't get it all the way loose. Let's try it again. Yeah, that's pretty loose, guys. That's pretty loose. Maybe we just gotta give a little motivation. God only knows how long it's been since this has been off of the car. There we go. And does it just pull out like this? Are you kidding me? And look at that V10, 505 horsepower. And by the way, I'm already working on an exhaust sponsor for this. Bellinger, I think is the name. And if we get that sponsorship, that's going to include 2-piece headers with the Y collectors on both sides and the full exhaust. And just to give you an idea of how great this exhaust system is, the exhaust alone adds 50 wheel horsepower. 50 wheel horsepower. Now, part of the reason that I wanted that out of the way is so I could see a little more of what's going on under here. There is a lot of oil leaking from the valve covers. I mean, an insane amount of oil has leaked all over this engine. This engine needs a thorough cleaning. But this is what I wanted to see. Here is a water to oil cooler, or oil to water cooler, however you want to call it. You have coolant lines in and out. You have oil cooler lines in and out. And these are leaking. You can clearly see they've got gunk all over them, especially as you get further down. They get really, really nasty. These need to be replaced. The only problem is I have yet to find anybody that manufactures this line or these lines so that I could change them out with something that doesn't leak. So since we're already under here, why don't we take off the serpentine belt? I bought this Icon at Harbor Freight, and this is a kind of a full service, kind of a universal belt removal tool, if you will. It's got everything, 1/2 inch, 3/8, 13, 14, all the way up to 19, 13, 14, 15. You got this right here, which has these weird star-shaped 13 and 16. This thing's going to be able to take off just about any belt you could ever need. Little locking tab right there on the ratchet. And, of course, a big hefty ratchet right here. I'm sure it's directional. Here's your tensioner right here, and we should be able to just put this on, and of course I'm going the wrong way. So no surprise. So you pop this out, flip it over, put it back in. Now we should be going the right way. And there we go. Let's see how well this works. Make sure it's on all the way. Oh, easy. That is super easy. Are you kidding me? I need 2 hands for this, guys, but this makes belt replacement really easy. And just in case I forget how the belt goes, no big deal. We got a diagram right there. Let's go ahead and rip this belt off. I'm not going to pay attention to how it goes because I really shouldn't need to. How easy is that? This probably was a good belt. Let's take a look. Do I see any cracking? No, not really. Yeah, that actually looks like it's a pretty good belt. And it's probably name brand. Maybe, what is it, a Dayco? Yeah, it's a Dayco. Name brand belt. All right, well, it doesn't hurt to put a brand new belt on. I got this belt for like $8 on Rock Auto. And it's definitely newer and definitely more pliable. Much better shape than that one. So I don't think you guys need to watch me put the belt on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. But first, I want to show you how complicated this water pump is. Are you ready for this? There's your water pump, guys. This this is it. That's it. It's that simple. There's just a few, what are those, 10-ish, 11 mil bolts? That's all there is to it. No big deal on this water pump at all. I'm telling you, a lot of people are afraid of the Viper. They think it's some super complicated, difficult car to work on. It's really not. It's really not. It's kind of, I won't go so far as to say it's an exotic car, but I mean, it kind of is. The lines, the look, a V10 that was co-designed with Ferrari, all aluminum block and heads, over 500 horsepower. Yeah, guys, it's an American-made exotic car, but you can get it for a fraction of the price of an exotic car, and you can actually work on it yourself. You don't need a mechanic. Even if you need to do cylinder heads, you can do the headers, exhaust, you can do everything, transmission, clutch, all of it. You can do it home. You can actually work on your own car, and that is one of the reasons I love the Dodge Viper. Well, I can't tell you how much I enjoy having my time wasted. This is a problem that I've been having with Rock Auto as of late, sending me the wrong parts for my car. I've clearly got the belt routed the proper way. It goes crank, air compressor, power steering, under this right here, goes over the alternator, goes under, over the water pump, back around the crank. The problem is I still have this much. So obviously I should have compared the belts to begin with. I'm gonna just go out on a limb and say this belt is a tad bit too big for this car. Why don't we just compare it real quick, shall we? Just take it and we'll butt it up against this one, and let's step on both of them. Yep, I'm gonna say that one of these is way bigger than the other. Lovely. Well, like I said, this belt is still pliable. It is not cracked. It does not appear to be damaged in any way. Perhaps what I'll do is I'll take note, well, of the part number on this belt, which appears to be a Dayco 7PK1740 or 5070685. I'll keep a close eye on this. And it looks like we're putting the belt right back on the car. Well, I guess if nothing else, I got some practice. Dropped my brand new light. Hopefully still works. Very good. Old belt is back on. So again, nothing like a little bit of wasted time. I think next we're going to focus on the cooling system. So why don't we get this car in the air? Let's drain the radiator, and then we can pull off the upper and lower radiator hoses. And at least that will be one catastrophic problem that is about to occur out of the way. All right, we're under the car, and I've got a hose hooked up to, you probably can't see it, right there is where the petcock is. Easy to get to, and it's running straight down into a bucket. So I am going to get my hands on this petcock here, and I'm going to squeeze this cock with everything I got, and it's loose. So we should have plenty of flow coming out of the petcock. It's gushing nicely. Very, very good. All right, so now we wait. This thing holds 4 gallons of coolant. I got a 5-gallon bucket. So now it's just a waiting game. All right, I've got 2 genuine Mopar hoses for this beast right here. One of these hoses was like $150. I'm not kidding. I'm not joking. I think it was the lower hose. The lower hose has the spring in it. Part numbers for both of these are right here. 05264986AF-001 and 05264985AA-001. Made in the good old US of A in 2022. That one's date code is 2022. This one also 2022. So these hoses are a couple years old, but obviously brand new. The one with the spring, like I said, goes on the bottom. We've already drained out about 4 gallons of coolant from this thing, and we got to figure out how this goes in. Actually, you know what? Sometimes these hoses will tell you. If you take the time to look under this sheathing, sometimes, well, and then other times they don't. But sometimes they'll tell you 2 engine. This is not one of those times. So we'll take the old hose off carefully, and we will lay it down exactly the way it came off. I think it's going to go on about like this. Something like this, I think, is how it's going to fit. And we're back. Sorry for the cut in the video there, but we had tornadoes in Oklahoma again. Yet again. I had to fly back to where I live, and unfortunately, the only car that could have really gotten me there quickly was torn apart, so I ended up having to take the limousine. It was the only car I had here that I felt confident would get us there safely, although not particularly quickly. So I got back, and I did a little bit of work off camera. I'm not sure that you guys really need to see me changing a couple of coolant hoses, but they are done. We have brand new hoses, top and bottom. Now for the top, I reused these spring tension clamps. And for the bottom, I actually used worm clamps. I prefer worm clamps. The problem is I ran out. I had 2 for the bottom, and that was it. So I had to reuse these spring clamps. On the top, I refilled the oil filter with oil. I did have to take it off to get access. Now, in the future, taking off that lower hose will be so much easier without having to fight those spring clamps or tension clamps, whatever you want to call them. So the worm clamps are so much easier, and I think they're just overall better. The cooling system is already refilled. We put the belt on, so now I have to decide what to do next because there's so much to do. My tires came in today, 2 of them. The rear tires have arrived. I'm still waiting for the front tires. They should be here soon. So I'm thinking, now that we got the hoses taken care of, and I got to show you this, guys. This, no pun, actually the pun is intended. This kind of blew my mind right here. Take a look at this hose. Do you see this? Do you see how easy? I'm not even pushing hard, guys. Look at this. It's bubbled. I don't know. It's like the hose is delaminating or something from itself. It is really, really bad. Like, I knew these hoses were bad, and I knew they were about to blow. But I did not realize how close they were to actually letting go. And here's another thing on these Vipers I think is really cool. Dodge put a mark on the hose and on the radiator. Now, if you notice, they put a paint mark there, which is nice and fine. But you see you've got a line right here? Well, on the radiator, there's also a line right there. You just match them up. Same thing here, where it says 2 engine. You match it up with the line that they painted on the thermostat housing. The same thing is on the bottom. It's got a line on the bottom where you hook it into, it's not the water pump. It's like the timing chain cover or something with the water pump galleys all built into it. And then on the radiator, same thing. The radiator's got a notch on it, and the hose has a line, and you just line it up so you know it's on there perfectly. So I think the next thing that's really bothering me is the valve cover gaskets. The leaking oil is not okay. It's something that we definitely want to stop so we can clean up this engine. My new coil packs came today, but the lower intake manifold gasket did not. So we're going to have to come back another time and do that. But I think the next pain in the rear is going to be the valve cover gaskets. So I guess we'll go ahead and jump into this. I'm not quite sure how to do it other than take the bolts out, but a lot of the bolts are covered up by all of these spark plug wire holder dealies. So I guess we got to unclip them, let the wires loose, pull those out, and then hopefully it's not too difficult. We're going to have to take this vacuum line off. This, can we do it with this on? We may have to remove the throttle cable. I kind of hate to do that, but I mean, it's not a big deal. It pops off here, it rides in this groove, and then there's 2 clips here. You pop this, move this out of the way. I think we'll go ahead and do that as well. Take off this little breather hose right here. And I'm probably just going to, pop these off. You take a little screwdriver, you stick them in the top, and it opens all of these up. They just pop open, fold out, and we'll go from there, guys. I think that's what's next. Let's do the valve cover gaskets so we can stop the oil leaks. All right, so don't worry. I've got the fender protector over here already. We can just pop this. There we go. Pop this off. You can do it by hand. And then we may have to take like this little screwdriver here and kind of push. Be very careful. Remember, this stuff is old, and it could be a little brittle. We don't want to break anything. But I'm pretty sure that I just undid everything I just did. I sure did. Come on, get in there. There we go. Get in there. Nope. All right, so this is going to be... There we go. I got it. It's hard to do one-handed, guys. Believe me. A lot of this stuff is very difficult to do with one hand. But now that we got that out of the way, I don't know if we're going to get to changing all the fluids today. We may have to do that in a separate video. Pop that off as well. Nothing is broken so far. It looks like over here, though, this has got a clamp on it, and it goes to the brake booster. So we could either remove it from here at the brake booster, or we can just get some needle nose, and I think that's what I'm going to do. Let's get in here, let's get this clamp off, and we can pop this hose off, and then we'll start working on the spark plugs. All right, we got the hose off. This is moving right along. I'm actually getting a little scared. Now we got to get down in here and try to pop and hope these don't break. These, yep, it just broke. So these are very brittle. They sit right on top of the exhaust manifold. I can't say I'm surprised. I'm really not. Let me use two hands. Thankfully, it sounds like they're all falling on the ground. I think I can stab those back in. But basically, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use my other hand to hold underneath and try to catch these pieces as they fall. All right, we got everything out of the way. It's time to take off these bolts. I believe these are 11 millimeter, and I'm going to show you, this is what these are supposed to look like. They're supposed to be hinged at the bottom. Unfortunately, the ones that sit all along the bottom here, they disintegrate. You can probably still, I've got one of the other pieces here. Yeah, right here. This is the hinged part that came off. It broke, and I'm pretty sure, because they pretty much all break, but I'm pretty sure that you can put the pieces back together, kind of like this, and see, they do snap back together, so you can still use these, even though they are somewhat broken. It's not really that big of a deal. I'm sure we can find some new ones. There is one back here on this corner. That's a bear to get off, and that's the one, of course, that didn't break. That's the hinged one right here that is intact. That was a lot of fun, and they're kind of hard to get off, so what I did is I took some needle nose pliers, got on there, and just gave them a good wiggle and pull, and they popped right off. So looks like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, a nice odd number, 13 11 millimeter bolts to get these off. So I'm going to pop those off, and with any luck, we can get this thing off here. It looks like all of them are going to be relatively easy, except that one. That one, I'm not quite sure. We'll figure it out. So there is a real possibility that the valve cover gaskets are not bad. It appears that somebody forgot to tighten all of the bottom ones. So far, all of the top ones were torqued down really nice. As I started with the bottom, I've only gotten these two out, not tight. I didn't even need a ratchet. I literally could have put this on and spun it. So I'm going to try this one. That one is tight. That one is not. Look at this. Look at this. Not tight. This one, not tight. And there is one down in this corner, if I can get it. Oh, yeah, not tight. So 1, 2, 3. This one was tight. 4, 5 on the bottom were not tight. And this one, I don't even know that I can. Let me make sure that I'm on that. I don't think that one's tight either. No, I'm turning it by hand. Almost every single one on the bottom of this was loose. Now, real fast, just in case you happen to find this video and you're doing this job yourself and you're wondering, how in the hell are you going to get that out? Listen to me. 1/4 inch ratchet, all right? 1/4 inch, 11 mil. Put it on through here first, and watch out, because under here, there's a sharp screw. It's already cut me. I mean, it is sharp like a razor blade, all right? It got me right there. So gently slide your socket in from this side, get it on there, and then use your 11 mil ratchet. Just kind of sit it on. You don't have to push it in all the way. Just kind of sit it on there and rock it like that until it's loose. Now I should be able to get in there and spin that. Yeah, I can spin this off by hand, and then just be very careful. There it goes, the valve cover falling off right there. Give me just a second, guys. Let me get this off, and we'll pull this valve cover off. Are we ready for the big reveal? Let's see what she's working with under here, guys. This should just, yeah, see if we can get this out of the way here. Just pops right off. Ooh, wow, look at that. They may be a little crusty and dirty on the outside, boys, but I mean, honestly, it's all that oil she's been leaking. She's just been dumping oil. I am curious if this gasket is still pliable, though. Nah. Nope. That gasket is hard as a rock. I'm going to need a pick to get that out. Let's take a look at the valve train. Would you look at that? Man, that's pretty right there, guys. That is beautiful. Absolutely gorgeous. No complicated parts, guys. It's old school. Old school push rod. No 4 valves per cylinder. Just 2. You got 1 intake, 1 exhaust. Very simple, reliable design. I like that a lot. You can clearly see down on the bottom here where she's been leaking oil for a long time. This is where all that mess comes from. So I'm going to get in here. I'm going to clean this up with a rag. Make sure the mating surfaces are nice. I'm going to pull that gasket out with a pick. We're going to put it right back together. Listen, I'm going to say it again. I've said it 100 times so far. Working on a Viper is not complicated. This is not rocket science. This is not surgery, brain surgery, any of that stuff, guys. This is basic. This is what most of us grew up working on. It's just a little bit bigger. That's it. Don't let it scare you. Don't let it fool you. This is not all that complicated. It's basic fuel injection with a basic computer and all basic components. Just a camshaft, a timing set, 2 valves per cylinder, and really big cylinder heads. All right, you guys ready to see how this came out? I got everything cleaned up over here, all the leftover gasket material. Somebody's been in here before. There's a little bit of silicone. I'm sorry, you guys get so mad when I say silicone, but there is some silicone stuck down in here. I don't know if that's from factory, but I don't think so. So we got the new PermaDry gasket. This is for the other side, and this is the one that came out of it. It was still a little pliable. Definitely not like this, but it still moves a little bit by hand. So I've got this all cleaned up. I wanted to show you guys my finished product. What do you think? I think it came out looking freaking awesome, man. Look how shiny that is. So I took it outside. I hit it with some of my favorite products, Super Clean. And then I hit it with a brush, which my brush is outside. I hit it with a soft bristled brush, and that's all I did. And I was able to take it from, let's see if we can compare and contrast these two real quick. Well, I don't think it's doing it much justice, guys. But anyway, yeah, it is. Look at the vibrant red on that compared to what's underneath it. Yeah, this looks so much better, guys. And you don't really need silicone. The gasket's got these little kind of, I don't know, it's got these little nubs all over it, and it just kind of pokes in and holds it in place. I'm just hoping, as easy as this side was to do, I'm hoping that the other side is easier because, well, I don't know why. I'm just hopeful that the other side is going to be easier. This wasn't too bad, though, guys. You can absolutely do something like this yourself. Now, it's time to put it all back together and get over to the other side and take it apart. So remember when I said I hoped that this side was going to be a little bit easier? No, it's absolutely not easier because there is no room over here to work, and you've got a bolt right there, and you've got a bolt way down there. That one, let me tell you, a lot of fun, guys. But if you use a combination of, 3/8 ratchet extension and a, 11 millimeter and 1/4 inch with a little bitty 11 millimeter, you can, with a lot of patience, get it out of there. On the other side, funny thing, several of these little spark plug wire holders that survived, they came off. As soon as I went to put them back on, they broke. They're brittle, and they just fell apart. This side, I had a couple of them that really fought me, but we got them all off. I got all the screws, nuts, and bolts out. You've got one right here that holds the dipstick to the valve cover, so kind of push the dipstick out of the way there. And, uh-oh. Maybe I forgot one? No, I got them all. This one's just, oh, wow. Yeah, that one was, That one was on there, wasn't it? Oh, that gasket, yeah. Well, again, dirty valve cover, a bad gasket. The good news on this side, though, is that most of them were tight. There were only a couple that were not tight, and you can guess where those were, where it's really difficult to get to in that corner, and down there in that corner where it's almost impossible to get to. Yeah, somebody just, they didn't bother tightening it. Again, though, you can see oil just where it's been leaking right out of this thing, man. All along the bottom, oil has just been dripping all over the place. So it's a good thing we got this apart. This was my next biggest concern, aside from those hoses. We got the cooling system where I feel it's pretty good. I'm going to have to order all of those. I'm just going to find somebody, hopefully, still makes all these. I don't even have a part number for these. I don't even see a part number on them. But I'm going to need, I don't know, however many there are, like 10 of them or something. All right, back to the same thing we did a little while ago, guys. I'm going to clean all this mess up, clean up the valve cover, make it look shiny, and we're going to put a new valve cover gasket on, then put it all back together. And then maybe, just maybe, we could put the car back together. I really want to drive this home, but I probably shouldn't because I am still waiting on my spark plug wires to come in. I'm waiting on my coils, my lower intake manifold gasket. So, I mean, I kind of might as well just leave it here and come back when all the other parts come and just do this all at the same time. All right, guys, time to get underneath this thing, make sure it's not leaking anything. Don't pay attention to that. That's from the other day. Hopefully the cooling system is sealed up. I did spray some carb cleaner all over, and I'm going to do it again here in just a minute all over the bottom side of this engine. As you can see, we got oil like dripping off the starter. I want to just spray all of this down with carb cleaner real quick, all up here too, because you can clearly see where all that oil has been just leaking. Hell, it's dripping off the engine right there. All of this wetness, I'm going to spray this down with some brake cleaner real quick, guys. And we'll come back and see what it looks like. Doesn't look like any coolant is leaking, although half of my spark plug keepers all broke off, but that's fine. Give me just a minute. I'll clean it all up. Take a look at that brand new lower radiator hose. It's probably one of the nicest things on this entire car right now. Well, it's back together, and it's running. It's running pretty dang good, too. Not to mention those valve covers just came out really, really nice, guys. Those actually came out a lot better than I thought they were going to. I'll clean up the intake when I get it out, maybe. I don't know, maybe not. I think what I'm going to do now, though, is I'm going to go get it some gas. I'm keeping an eye on the temperature. Obviously, after redoing the cooling system, I want to keep my eye on that temperature gauge, make sure it doesn't get up too high. It generally sits around 200, so that's normal. I've had the heat on and running. The heat's working great, so we know we got good circulation. The fuel is about 1/8 of a tank. That's not much. So I'm going to have to get her out here soon and go put some gas in it, some good 93. We're starting to build pressure on the cooling system. Everything seems to be fine. I no longer smell oil, which is really nice. I got under this thing, I used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cans of brake and carburetor cleaner on this engine on the underside. Just started spraying everything down. I want to make sure that we have no oil leaks. Although, even though it was leaking pretty profusely from the valve covers, it never left any oil drips in my driveway. So that's kind of, I don't know, that's kind of weird that it never did that. But it was definitely leaking oil. You could smell it. You could see it all over the engine. It's going to be nice being able to drive it and not have to smell burning oil all the time. It needs a bath. We still have a lot of work to do, but I think I'm going to be done for today, guys. Not to worry, if you enjoy the Viper content, there's plenty more. We still have a serpentine belt to put on, a new one. That's not the right one. We have the rear differential fluid. We have the power steering fluid. We have the transmission fluid. We have brake fluid and slave cylinder fluid. We still have a battery to install. And like I said earlier, we have 4 tires, 4 brand new Michelin Pilot. The backs are Super Sports, and the fronts I think are just Michelin Pilot Sports or something like that. They're not the Super Sport, but they're the same tread pattern. They appear to be very similar. They're both 30,000 mile tires. We got a lot done, guys. Since I got this car, we've gotten quite a bit done to it. It's really starting to come together. I'm happy with it so far. Am I going to keep it once I'm done doing all of this work? You know, that's, I don't know. I think I am. I intend to, but we all know me. I'm rather indecisive. And every time I get something finished, I end up running off and getting rid of it and getting something that needs a whole bunch of work all over again. I hope you enjoyed the Viper as much as I have enjoyed bringing the content to you. So do me a favor, if you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button and let me know. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Be sure to drop those comments below. And until next time, stay safe out there, everybody. I look forward to seeing you all again very soon in the next one.